Novo Nordisk, the Danish company behind the weight loss drugs Ozempic and Wegovy, is now worth more than the Danish economy. It's quite amazing. The drug maker is valued at 428 billion, while the GDP of Denmark is at 406 billion. It's the Americans who are making the difference, buying billions worth of Ozempic. And that influx of US dollars into the economy has pushed the value of the Danish krone up. In response, the country's central bank has to keep rates below those set by the ECB to keep their currency stable against the euro. I hope you got all that. For more on this, about this weight loss industry and the Danish economy, Ryan Patel, he's a global business executive and senior fellow with the Drucker School of Management at Claremont Graduate University. I'm told it's quite prestigious. Thanks and good to see you, my friend. Is this a big story? I mean, I guess we all know how successful these weight loss drugs are, but I don't know if it's fair to compare the market cap of the company to the GDP of the whole country, but it is kind of a fun story.
No, I mean, I think when you look at the story, right, you have to see what the parent company is doing, right? The micro piece of the story is obviously these products that they have. But if these products are successful and causes more revenue, which it is for the parent company, Phil, only means one thing. That means the parent company is going to be able to be more innovative and have more money to be able to do more things and disrupt. So when I think of a bigger scale, it obviously is a big story because Denmark is an example. It could be the case study where other countries are also investing in its own home countries where it could cause kind of this ripple effect where there's more jobs and make an impact in the economy, as we've seen in the numbers. At the very point, without the pharmaceutical industry in Denmark in the last quarter, they would have been, instead of being up positive GDP 1.8, they'd have been down by 0.3%. So, yeah, I mean, it's a fun story, but there's more to this, and it's been brewing for quite a bit of time of investment.
What happens next?
Well, I think for Denmark specifically, right, there's an opportunity where there is a lot more demand than supply, Phil. So that's a good problem to have, but also you have to fulfill that. And so when you start to do that and build manufacturing capabilities, export capabilities, you have to meet that demand. And I think the next goal, and it was very clear by the CEO of the company, is the U.S. market and really how to hit that demand and how to grow it globally. Because now you have something that is a product that people want. Now the question becomes, can you do it in a profitable but also maintain the global supply chain to do that? And that'll be very interesting to see if it can meet somewhat the demand.
Right. No, I was just kind of thinking to myself, it's such a big part of their economy. I mean, you could argue it's too much of the economy, and now the economy is essentially reliant upon this one company for whether it's profits or revenues or supporting the overall country. Is there a point that a company gets too big and almost outsizes the economy that they're in? Is that a concern?
Yeah, absolutely, right? I mean, because if you think about it, not just from supplies and getting suppliers, because they're already looking at contract manufacturers. So as of right now, to meet the demand, they can't have it all in Denmark, right? So that's one issue, to be able to do that, having the infrastructure. Also, Denmark as a whole heavily services is over 70% as a economy. So if you're thinking about the Danish economy, you want to be diversified. You don't want to be just in one. Obviously, in the short term, this has helped. There potentially could help inflation, be able to help the employment numbers, but overall, you want to be more diversified. And I think you can see Denmark, I'm pretty sure, being able to not just be a pharmaceutical hub, but obviously be more of a tech hub too, is what they're trying to do, especially in the healthcare field, and make some of those pivots
right now
to complement their economy.
To be fair, just because the market cap is 400 billion doesn't mean they're doing 400 billion in revenue, right? And certainly not 400 billion in profit, because its profits only be a small fraction of what they have in terms of market cap. Now, could this inspire and create new companies in Denmark or in Europe, for that matter, to pursue new drugs? Because this is arguably a good success story, and I'm sure others would want to follow.
Yeah, and I mean, right now, if you look at the headline, right, they're the largest company in Europe, and overtaking over the market cap is increasing, as you mentioned, that the people are pouring money into the stock. But absolutely, it's a race in the healthcare industry to be able to find a product that can go mainstream. And let me be clear, the mainstream piece is where this really hits home for many of these companies where it can be used to solve problems or society problems as well. And so when you think of tech and innovation, to me, those are the two words that has been lacking in healthcare over the last 10 years. And so we see the rapids, we see startups specifically getting in this space. So Phil, this is just the beginning, I believe, when you think about how many of these products or many of these things that we couldn't be able to do in human advancement, many of these businesses are putting in money into this, hoping that the ROI will be there. And it's just not one company. There's many companies, especially in Europe, that are far advanced to be able to say, hey, this is where they're putting their innovation and research development dollars, because they are looking for that return.
Right, and I got to think, Europe, much like the U.S., we have a lot of people who are getting older, who may not be very healthy, that need, I guess, more drugs. I mean, there was a time when we were pushing people to use less drugs, but this seems to have flipped that script, so to speak, that now people are back on the drugs. I don't know, is this trend of using more drugs going to continue?
I think I've seen surveys from multiple places, right? I mean, it was like nearly half of the U.S. adults would be interested in taking, things that they thought was safe and effective. Keyword, safe and effective, right? And so to me, I think there's a story piece there about what that looks like and how you explain. No longer, I think, we don't live in this age where, hey, take this and it's good for you. I think there needs to be trials and understanding and trust to be built. I feel like because of what the digital economy, digital way that we are looking at things, there's a lot more communication to be able to do that. I think people can educate themselves. So there's a little bit of that, Phil, I think, of wanting to do that and that trust. And I think people are more willing to try, I think, than before. But I mean, it's still up in the air to see, where that trust goes and where it comes from.
Well, these are serious drugs for a serious company, but certainly a fun story. Ryan, good to see you. Thank you.